Ivan to be either a frontline initiator or a tank can really help. However, with the Kai'Sa left up, very easy lock-in.
I wouldn't be surprised if they look for something that is going to be hard engaged. Maybe the Renekton and the Sejuani locked in here, but if they do want to flex the Rel, which we did mention from before, which will be a very prioritized champion coming to tonight's series, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Last couple of days, mainly been jungle though, worth mentioning, but as you said, last night's series, there was a Rel support game too. Kitty, with that point aside, Sejuani is now left open up to Jiejie, but Nymera, I want to know what comes here third, whether it is that topside blind, or do you look for something in support position?
Now this is the big thing for EDG, right? You really want to have a lane which can crush lane against TheShy, who has shown some weakness in that area of the game, but also can give some teamfight impact afterwards. I think TheShy, he's looking at K'Sante or Ornn now, something which can survive and be undiveable. You don't really beat Sejuani Renekton, you aim to survive it.
TheShy can be your angel or your devil, right? You can go the Ornn route or the Rumble route for that final
Angel's
pick.
an NIP, he's not here.
Oh, he's not here, but you know who is here? TheShy, and he has played 2 Rumble games so far into the summer, and he also did bring that out in the series from last night with Equalizer, with paired alongside something like the Rel jungle, did amazing.
I mean, they're leaving that topside pick for a little bit later in the draft. We get the Jace picked up actually a little bit later than expected. No Meiko this time around, but still for Xiaohu, still a dominant.
Also worth noting that Xiaohu hasn't played that much Jace. It has typically been something like the Azir, the Tristana, really hasn't gone towards this pick, which has been a game-winning pick in the hands of the likes of Knight, the like of Scout.
And it's funny though, historically, I'd look at Xiaohu's Jace and be like, it's actually a pick he has excelled on in previous LPL splits, so a nice note there, a nice little tidbit as we start banning away supports, and of course, TheShy's Rumble.
Ah, the Rumble's gone, guys. Okay, maybe we just default back to something like the Ornn or the K'Sante towards that top lane, although it will lose slightly in the early game against the Renekton, but it is still very reliable CC for Weibo Gaming to rely on.
I think, in some ways, I think you should be breathing a sigh of relief if you're a Weibo fan, because the first time that TheShy played Rumble, he went 0-7-4 versus NIP. It was an absolute disaster. He had a great game in his previous series on the other side, though. Meiko is going to have the Alistair removed. I think that EDG, they'd love to have a secondary engaged threat locked in somewhere. I think Meiko probably is looking towards something like the Nautilus if it is up and available. Weibo, of course, have the flex of Rel between jungle and support for them to hold on to. They can bide their time here and keep one of those options open.
I wouldn't be surprised if Uzi considers something like the Sivir. We have seen that paired alongside hyper carries in the mid lane, like the Tristana, and you also have a very strong 2v2 in the top side with the Sejuani and Renekton, so just a little bit of utility to provide extra team fighting abilities.
I think the most interesting thing is that we don't see this Tristana flex like we do with other teams. It doesn't go down to Uzi, it consistently sits with FoFo, so you have that assumption right now, looking at EDG as Rakan taken away from Chris after his dominating performance yesterday, takes 1 supplementary engage out of Weibo's call.
This is an easy lock-in for the Ornn here. Again, the thing about Sejuani and Renekton, and one of the things which I was a little bit worried about the Rumble if it was going to be locked in for them, of course it's banned away, but you just need to survive this duo. They're so disgusting with the first couple of ganks of the game. Someone like an Ornn can just press W, at least get themselves unstoppable and get themselves out of trouble, and they will add impact later into the game. TheShy had an Ornn game against Top Esports in their victory versus them. That ended up working very well. Teamfight impact, good for TheShy.
And Chris, I mean, champions like the Leona are still left up and open, and that will provide extra urgency. So you already see Meiko picking the Braum blind, as you already know, Weibo Gaming, they work extremely well off melee supports that will link up extremely well with Weiwei.
Again, we'll wait and see, because we still have that Rel there as a potential flex. But I like the mention of the Leona, which has seen its light in playoffs as Uzi. His debut in this series, what's it going to be? We've seen the Zeri out of him, out of light actually recently the most. And it looks like, again, he's going to go to the old faithful that some players are returning to.
It's going to be the double marksman comp. We saw this one coming. Tristana not really in Uzi's champion pool right now. EDG find themselves with a lack of engage here, though, which I'm a little bit worried about. I feel like they need to early game snowball with this comp to make up for their lack of engage.
I'm not a fan of Braum and Zeri together. Very weak early game compared to something like Weibo Gaming, where they are extremely explosive, right? So we'll have to wait and see, because we still have the Rel going to be flexed towards that support most likely, as the Alistair did get taken away, and it's a poppy lock-in for the jungle.
Okay, so using that Rel flax, we've seen a lot of it jungle throughout regionals. This one's going to be going down to support, and we've seen that Rel be such a big engage threat. Weibo, they have the engage advantage. They have the range advantage right now because of that Jace, and it does feel like EDG, they're going to struggle to find engages. EDG, they need to have early advantages, otherwise this game could just stall out for them.
Yeah, and Weibo Gaming locking in this composition, they have so much range. Potentially the AP Kai'Sa going to the hands of Light, where it was a 100% winner in last night's series between Weibo Gaming and Top Esports, but this time around, Xiaohu playing the Jace for the first time since the start of the playoffs. So it's going to be really interesting on how they approach these team fights, because they
23, but Weibo, even though they've never made it to the world stage in their organization's history, are looking to break that mold. debut here and return TheShy to the world stage for the first time since 2019. Uzi holds that same merit. 2019, the last time he was there with RNG. So which legend will return to the big stage as our 4th seed? Now, we find out.
Every time you think they're going to stop, every time you think it won't get louder, they just do. We keep harping on about it. The atmosphere in this crowd has been second to none in terms of our experience anyway. The observers went straight towards that top lane at the start of it. I think that's a good place to start here as well for this game. Ala on the Renekton across the entirety of Summer is 10-4. He has pretty high KDA. He's had some incredible laning performances as well. And TheShy, while he will have teamfight impact, he does need to survive that at the start of this game.
So I really want to know, Kitty, walk me through this early game then, because I think you should start with the 2v2, considering that you were a little bit concerned with how Uzi Meiko are going to play it. You don't like the strength of this lane, is that correct?
Yeah, so Zeri and Braum together is a bit of a question mark for me because they are extremely weak when it comes to the early 2v2 compared to something like the Kai'Sa, who is going to take the Hail of Blades and of course working alongside Chris. And I think Chris has had an amazing run so far in the regional qualifiers working alongside Weiwei. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put a lot of attention towards his bottom side to shut down Uzi and not allow Meiko to link up with Jiejie.
Chris has himself an aggressive champion too. That's something that we were asking for alongside Weiwei. Rel definitely fits that mark. So teamfight impact, engaging threat. It isn't that Braum, if you overdive, it can be kind of awkward. As much as the Zeri and the Braum not great on the offensive, they can very much punish if you overstep.
And there's something with Kai'Sa Rel that I think doesn't get talked about. The fact that Rel reduces armor and magic resist. Kai'Sa has duality with the second skin passive that makes it a little bit more oppressive in that lane. Uzi's already taken a big blight there as Light himself didn't mean to do that. He's going to pop him for a few. And we'll continue watching that 2v2. While topside, another thing mentioned, Nightmare, was the fact that Ala should have a good time here, especially with the Sedge support.
Yeah. So Ala's going to have a good time. FoFo's going to have a good time as well. If you look, just cast your eyes down to the minimap, you've got a pushing bot lane from Weibo. That's good for them, but the top side of the map is going to be a bit of a perilous area to play around for Weibo for the time being. That's why the Tristana has been picked up by FoFo so much. Ala having the winning lane too helps.
Well, the engage.
It's all in. Uzi burning down cleanses. That Ignite doesn't tick over. Chris only used one summoner, and Weibo, the 2v2 is already starting great.
Disrespect coming out of EDG's bottom lane. They are still a level down, and the wave is slowly building. You see Weiwei making his way, skipping the blue buff as well. He wants to cheat the tempo.
Okay, well, there's no heal, there's no cleanse. Uzi is level 1 and losing a huge wave under turret. Weiwei, he doesn't need to be farming his bot side of the jungle. He knows what he's going to get value out of, and that's stopping Uzi having a good time.
I mean, Meiko staying, but look, Weiwei is again knowing he's here. Uzi in the brush, flashed on against the wall. The crowd is definitely here to support Weibo today.
What a regionals Weiwei is having, consistently impacting the early game on champions like the Poppy.
And that's 3 waves.
I don't think it's going to end there as well, Kitty. They're looking for the dive against the wall. There's a heroic shove. Light getting the second skin. Meiko burns a flash as Chris tanks it up, gets on out. Light's going to take another shot though, and dissuaded from the rest of the dive. Meiko survives, but the wave is still negated.
And 3 people walk out alive from this dive as well, and Uzi misses out on 3 giant waves, and that's thanks to the agency that Chris was able to provide with this level advantage.
Why is Uzi walking up a level 1 to level 2? That's the big question, right? You use the word disrespect, that is exactly the correct word I would use as well. He takes all of his health as damage, and he doesn't get to have the HP regen effectively by leveling up and killing the wave. Weiwei's at the right point of the map. Uzi completely shut out after one bad early mistake.
And even though they don't get Meiko on the side, Weibo getting first blood against Uzi, the level 1 Zeri. We come back to live. Uzi has been able to catch a wave, but it's turret plating taken down. It's all those waves denied, and the fact that Uzi is behind tempo.
And we see Crisp and Weiwei linking up once again. No major objective whatsoever towards the top side, but they just want to provide a bit of urgency towards Xiaohu in this mid lane. But still, bottom lane is going to become a huge problem if this trend continues, because the Zeri and the Braum has to live if EDG want the Renekton and Tristana to scale with.
That was exactly what I was going to say as well, because what was that about bot lane being an ATM at points? It can happen either way, but you look at Uzi going down now. It does mean that EDG can't just play through topside now. They can't play through the Renekton and Sejuani. TheShy is going to be more than happy here.
So again, do we just wait for neutrals then, guys? Like, are we looking towards Herald fight and trying to overforce there so that we can get EDG with a bit of a lead?
I think that's really what EDG need to. That's so much of this competition. Again, one of the big things we said is that they don't really have that much engage. You got a Sejuani ult, you got a Renekton on a flank. That's kind of it. The way you overcome that is getting so much gold that engage is much, much easier. You get to push up. Herald will help that with the Tristana, Renekton, Sejuani.
And we've seen multiple teams trial this double AD carry composition coming into the entirety of Summer, and it's 50-50, right? The results have been differing because when you don't get that Rift Herald into the hands of the Tristana, when you don't get these side towers into the hands of EDG, this champion truly starts to fall off in the meta right now as the Hex Splash isn't going to connect.
Just get some poke out onto FoFo. Xiaohu making sure of that as he tries to push this wave with Weiwei nearby, who consistently is now hovering around this bot. But I mean, Weiwei is on a speed run.
And Crisp is linking up with him as well. That's something that we've asked for. Meiko roaming up to counter as well. We could be in for a bit of a fight here, but it looks like with that Q missing, fizzles out.
Level 5 Sejuani, they walk away. And meanwhile, Weibo just play between River as well. You can see Light also moving up to try and add something in now that he has his Kache's shot.
And as this already gets picked up by Xiaohu, you already see that this Jace is becoming a very prominent champion in the mid lane priority, but Jiejie, he wants to stop that.
Jiejie looking in towards that mid lane. You can see that with bot lane resets and supports moving across the map, it kind of opens up the net of vision. We've had some walls put down. Xiaohu, he has to blow the flash here, maybe?
Xiaohu tries to turn it around onto FoFo. Well, flash not burn yet. He gets out. That was slick. Meanwhile, TheShy with the ulti sets up for Weiwei topside. Ala's up against the wall. Bots around. He picks up the kill, and Weibo are more than heavy on the board.
Weibo have absolutely destroyed this early game. Weiwei has more than destroyed this early game. The Renekton, which is meant to be the point of pressure, dies in the top lane. That should not be happening. The Renekton Sejuani should be controlling that, and that's alongside the other early game losses for EDG.
As you see Sejuani getting seen on the map towards the mid lane, and they fail the 1v2 because of mechanical mistakes, but Ala on this Renekton with the wave pushing in, this was bound to happen against TheShy, but still, the mid lane 2v1 not working out is going to be detrimental for this upcoming Herald.
And I absolutely love this about Poppy as well. As soon as Poppy gets all of their basic abilities, they're basically full build. They get to run over the map like this. Weiwei continuing to have a really good regional run.
I mean, Poppy, it's a champion that will have a lot of presence in the early game, especially when you have that Hex Flash into your pockets as well. Dodging out the vision is going to be key, and Jiejie, I mean, he is one of our more passive junglers when it comes to the LPL.
And can I just say, Merc Treads in this game, huge value against EDG, and that's the first pick up here with Bammy Cinder alongside. So already Weiwei with a bounty, and we were highlighting this man. No accolades, but boy, is he leading to them in game one.
That is actually a really good point there, because it's a full AD composition, but the Merc Tread stopped the Sejuani being so much at the first. Speaking of that, Jiejie has himself level 6. He spots Weiwei. This is not so much ships in the night, it's more than just a submarine looking to take down a passing freighter.
Oh, okay, Jiejie is level 6, so that's the difference. A lot of damage coming out at early stages. Smite down. Weiwei had no business getting that. Come on.
The crowd goes absolutely insane, Hysterics.
Wait, they're going to go even more insane. It's the turn onto Uzi. Blight jumps on in, Crisp sidesteps the Winter's Bite, and then makes Uzi go woof. As Meiko is running for his life, but Weibo are looking at the 2v2, they take the flash, and it's all downhill for EDG.
You can't be dying with your flash up 2 times in a row. This Zeri has to be the late game win con that EDG relies on. Now you see Weiwei starting up the dragon.
At least the Herald is going towards EDG in the top side, but where we were talking about the Herald being a big win condition for EDG to get ahead of the game, this is to bring them even at best, even if they were to pick this up. They're losing farm towards bot side or EDG, they've lost plates towards bot side Weibo. This is such a clean game, a lot of that really coming from Weiwei.
And throwing it back to why static shift becomes such a pain to deal with in patch 13.12 and 13.13 is that whoever gets static shift pretty much wins all the priority when it comes to the mid game, and you already see that Light is extremely accelerated, coming out of Chris, and with Light having that ultimate available, jumping onto Uzi and being way too overpushed in his own lane.
And Chris like sidesteps the Q, lands the double Q himself. He is having such a great time on the Rel.
Great tournament, honestly. Again, talked about it yesterday. MVP of Game 5 on the Rakan. Here on the Rel, it's starting off well as Weibo now with a 600 gold lead. Is not everything after we talked about the 3 kills, but it is still something showing the early momentum of the
Looking
team.
at Ala roaming down from top side, he has Flash, he has TheShy, who could be in danger, but it looks like the Renekton's being called away. So EDG looking for something, not able to find it. Sad for them. They've not really been able to find much in this game.
Crisp has
Not
Flash.
getting easier.
Meiko's moving in, Jiejie on a ward, but you can see Xiaohu also moving down. They just dissipate for the time being, while bit of damage laid down with the wave pushed in.
I mean, great discipline coming out of Weibo Gaming, and they knew that something was fishy towards this bottom side river with no major objectives. There was no risk for them to walk up. Now the static shift gets picked up for Light, and the bottom wave is going to be absolutely insane for the side of Weibo Gaming to work up for that second dragon.
I'm going to pick up a word you used there because I love it. Discipline from Weibo. This is a team which has been far from clinical the majority of playoffs, the majority of the year. This team is not clinical. They've made big mistakes. We even saw that in their series versus Top Esports as well. But this game has been very, very strong in that early game.
So let's just touch base a little bit here, because even though the early game has gone their way, I'm just noticing that the gold isn't spiraling out of control. Am I saying it at the wrong time? Flash away from Arla is perfect caster timing to the T. But EDG still have lane lead, 15 topside. Now with Herald mid, the Tristana should be in a good spot as well. Even though bot's gone bad, EDG is still playing towards those lanes.
So Uzi's also here. He rotated up, so this is going to be a 4-man from the side of EDG.
On the FoFo, can't jump away. That's the poppy for you. There's Glacial Prison in the backline from Jiejie. Flash away from Weiwei. Weibo don't want to be here. Chris gets jumped on, has to flash himself. Weibo lost triple summoners in the play and have to dissipate.
Okay, so Harold gets into that mid lane turret. TheShy.
Hang on, onto Renekton. It's an on. This shouldn't be happening. Arla heals back up, and the threat is still there with the whip.
Okay, so what's the real ramifications of this play? We're back to even in gold. That's kind of what we thought about with that Herald. The Herald wasn't going to be bringing EDG to a gold lead. I still think this is good for Weibo. We did kind of say that EDG, they need to be ahead of the game because they're lacking engage. It's a Sejuani ult, and that's kind of it. Being even in gold right now, it's still scary for them. There's still room to go, but it's not done job.
TheShy does have flash though, and the jungler is right around the corner. Can he get out?
But no Glacial Prison available. Permafrost can be Bellows' breath as Weiwei is waiting for the counter gank. Arla,
oh, come on.
Too far up. Patience. Dominance here in the early game. The teleport's being burned as well. Xiaohu makes his way in, wants to mow Jiejie down. Flash finally burns. Searing charge doesn't connect, but doesn't need to. Xiaohu pops him back, and kill number 5 for WBG.
And kill number 4 for Weiwei on the Poppy. It feels unfair that he is absolutely everywhere.
He is just leashing EDG around for this map. TheShy also perfectly baiting out that entire play towards the top side with Arla overcommitted on the Renekton and not having the abilities to escape. I mean, it was an aggressive play from the side of EDG, but TheShy getting away with the flash as well in hand. And also the TP from Xiaohu. This is a great early start for a scaling composition.
This is looking a little bit desperate, and that's why I was like, oh, come on. It feels so sad for EDG that you finally make yourself an aggressive play, you've made it in the mid lane, trying to snowball the game, and then suddenly the Poppy's there to ruin your day.
That's a beautiful length of play. He said Weiwei got his 4th kill, but at least Xiaohu getting some participation here on this Jace adds a bit more gold.
And the impression that I got from Weiwei, at least from the start of Summer, was that he was a great counter jungler.
Yeah.
He knew the enemy jungle to a T, and he was really good at reading plays, and that exact 2v2 on the top side did the deal.
Just a reminder that Weiwei, just one last point on him, we're talking about it a lot because he is the one player with, like, you know, without the international titles on this roster, without the international appearances, back in mid again. FoFo!
It gets shoved against the wall. Weiwei again. Kill number 5. I am the carry now.
It's definitely doing it. I think Weibo, they're going to be really giving some pats on the back to this jungler after this point. Weibo, as a whole unit, they have been enabling this Poppy, and now you suddenly see the entirety of this map from EDG being harder to play. They don't have the gold lead they need still.
And because Light was able to pick up that static shift so early on, you're going to see Crisp and Weiwei once again linking together and getting so much vision towards his bottom side where Jiejie is forced to play for this top lane dive.
But I need to pause because, as you said, that dive is coming through from Jiejie. Call the forward god to get the minion wave there. Dominant. Glacial Prison not going to be Bellows' breath as TheShy. Searing charge of 2-man. Jiejie's tanking it up. He buys some time, but Jiejie not going to die underneath. Arla finally gets a kill this Renekton needed.
It's something, it's not really going to give them the option to kill anything beyond that tower though, because the wave died. TheShy cleared the wave on the bottom side. Weibo are not just cross-mapping with the tower kill, they're threatening Uzi and Meiko as well. So in the grand scheme of things, EDG, with Uzi falling even further behind, is still bad for them.
And Light picks up all the tower bladings by himself. This has been a solo Kai'Sa towards the bottom side because Chris and Weiwei have just been playing alongside the vision. Now with the second dragon getting picked up, and also the Herald spawning in 40 seconds, they don't really have the tempo to make that play without the cooldowns.
I will say, we didn't see it on the English side, but on the Chinese side, they just highlighted again that 67% burst turret rate from Weibo throughout the season. This team pushes turrets fast, and at least in the early game, that success comes off a lane opening up, like it just did for Light, moving it to a 3k gold lead.
It's not hard to get first towers when you prioritize the Tristana so much in your compositions, am I right? But still, Weibo getting a very great start, and that is once again through the jungler and the support where they both have the Hex Flash, and they're accelerating the tempo so much before the double AD carry composition comes online.
Right, so second Herald coming up now as well. EDG, the team with the Tristana this time, they also prioritize it. They haven't really been able to unlock FoFo on the map. Getting into the river. You can see that Crisp is alone in the river right now. I think he can. He's got a Hex Flash. Weibo they need to be careful around this Herald still.
I've seen too many Rels fail these jumps over the
Oh,
wall,
no,
so I was
no,
getting a little bit worried, but
Just channels the Hex Flash. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not risking it.
can't miss that one. But Weiwei is going to get spotted out on the pink ward, but still, the ultimate needs to be online for Jiejie because that's the only hard CC that they can throw out without too much commitment.
Because the difference is Weiwei has that Keeper's Verdict now available. As you mentioned, Kitty, Jiejie is about 10 seconds off that. EDG started knowing that they're going to have it in time.
Don't think Weibo want to throw at this. They might want to poke out. Xiaohu is recalling and don't know exactly what he's going to be able to buy. We can see TheShy roaming up though. There is an angle here for Weibo.
Going to play it slow. Maybe after the Herald double TP, the disengage onto Meiko. Now
Oh,
EDG getting engaged on. Again, he does it. Sent back with this Jiejie, the rocket jump out from FoFo. They double TP'd, and they also stole the Herald, mind you, so Weiwei walks away with the prize.
Well, Weibo Gaming is just taking everything away from the side of EDG. Double TP is committed as well, 45.
Disrespectful from Meiko. He shoved his searing charge against the wall. Jiejie now found out on the left here by Weiwei. Again, the jungle diff showing apparently as Jiejie flashes out. Weibo now control this area of the map as they take mid-turret with it and move to that 3k gold kit lead comfortably.
Weibo also have that mid lane out of turret down by this point. It does feel like all of these players have been just much more considered by Weibo. The recall will continue, and that's going to be fine for him. TheShy manages to again get that teamfight impact. EDG, that Herald was important for them. They've now not really found value out of either.
TheShy lives life on the edge, but like Chimera said, this Tristana needed to get early towers. It needed to get early tower plates with the only Kraken in hand. I mean, Weibo Gaming, they have champions with great engage in the hands of Crisp and TheShy. So the double AD carries, they're consistently under so much pressure that they can't really face any 5v5. So they have to look for picks on the side alongside the Renekton and the Sejuani.
Another factor to consider as well, we talked about the gold and the Heralds, but the Dragons are also going the way of Weibo. EDG, they took the first Herald for free. Yes, they got something in mid, but it just doesn't feel like enough. Now they're starting to get to the point where they might just not just stall out in terms of their engage in their composition, but also the Dragon Soul win condition as well. It's Hex Soul. That's a dangerous thing to give up.
I mean, again, when we're talking about Ornn, Jace, Kai'Sa, again, we know what the comp is, we know the range that it adds.
It's like an orbital artillery strike.
And with Hex Tech Soul as well. I mean, that's just, again, not great on any team, but still, it feels bad, especially when Weibo have started controlling this early game and haven't really been unrelenting. I think this is what we're talking about coming into today, that stylistically for EDG, this would be hard, and we're already getting a rendition of what it could look like with Weibo's early game.
Something that you mentioned earlier, Kitty, is the fact that we might get the AP Kai'Sa. We have the Nash's Tooth in. That will be the case. And now Light's going to start doing damage too.
You're only shining light as Xiaohu does get engaged on here, but I think the play is going to die down as the mid and jungle are linking up once again. 3v3, 3v4 in the top side.
Light's coming in. This might be good for Weibo yet again as EDG are playing ambitiously. Remember that Arla's not here. He'll have to teleport in. Jiejie cornered out as Chris now holding the engage. The Keeper's Verdict used again onto Meiko as Uzi's tagged out by Light, who runs in and dominates the fight. EDG not winning this one as Killer Instinct back in. Call the Forge God. Hits Uzi from afar. Weibo are 5 members strong, and once again EDG are suffering.
Weibo, they just have more CC. They punt out the front line as well with the Pop Yell, and this is corralling EDG under the top lane turret.
This game one feels so bad as they try and make a turn on the Xiaohu. It's a good idea, but now Meiko solo it out. Arla in the dominance flashes on live, but he won't be dead. Uzi corralled down by his old mid laner. And Edward Gaming, they might have the legacy under their belt, but Weibo have the skill.
EDG can't catch a break away from Weibo Gaming. And this time around 18 minutes, they have all outer towers and also 10 kills into their pocket.
They summoned the Herald midway through the play where it was like, we got the fight, let me just drop down on a glorified cannon minion. There's a teleport coming back. Hex Gates helping them as well.
Low health bar, Xiaohu still re-engages. Weiwei again! Jungle diff, ladies and gentlemen in org chat.
All right. I'm gonna sniff some hopium. If EDG wants to come back into this game, they have to kill the most fed member. Weiwei is that most fed member. You know how Poppy's gonna die? If she takes a greedy engage and she overextends, that bounty gold goes into one of the hands of the carries. I mean, that might be a way back to the game.
You know how you're not gonna get that shut down? One, fights like this, and two, teleporting back into the play in the replay after this as well. Weibo, they've done a great job, particularly with the Poppy ultimate, to get rid of half of that front line. The Brawn Bush can be such an issue. At the start of this fight, it was already difficult enough with so much CC landing. The Herald gets taken, put down as well to tank up a couple of turret shots. Weibo, they are winning on all fronts.
Extra style points for the Rift Herald, like you said, but still, Weibo Gaming locking in a 5v5 composition where they excel at team fighting. The Tristana just isn't going to offer as much, especially when you're TPing into the face of the Shy. I mean, that's just a little bit too disrespectful, but still, the composition is truly online as they sit on the Hex Soul Point.
Well, they're trying to find the Shy. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Kitty, though, 5 minutes till that Dragon to define. Another moment here for Weibo in game number 1 as EDG did get bounty in this top side. They are at the objective bounty point, and now for the inner turret, they're trying to push for more.
FoFo gets caught a little bit, might have to jump a little early. Won't be the case at this point. The Xiaohu pushing this bot lane all alone. This is one of the issues which EDG have had as a team, is that they get caught across the map, and it feels like they're getting caught across the map again.
Uzi's on ward as well. Light trying to tag him. He has Killer Instinct available. Teleport in from Weibo. They're sandwiching. They're pinching EDG. They want to end game one right here at the 20-minute mark as Teleport to follow through. All members there. Chris with a two-man Magnet Storm as weiwei ults up. No one dead from EDG yet as TheShy didn't get a searing charge, but Light ulti's back in. They get numbers once more. They're so agile in Weibo as EDG now claw back trying for victory. Uzi is the one to do it. This Zeri at least having an attempt, but they're too far behind. They didn't win the early game, and now they're just not going to win any of the game.
EDG try to group up and push, but united they fall to Weibo. Once again, EDG are caught out across the map. The teleport's a killer. The Baron is dead.
The double items picked up for the carries of Weibo Gaming. EDG got melted just like this Baron, and now with the Baron in their hands, they're going to wait for that Hex Soul, and EDG's game one is going to be ever so much more harder.
Don't know how much we can keep talking about this. EDG, they try to force fights when they're behind in games. They try and group up and force, but right here, they don't manage to find something on top side. They stay too long, they get teleported on, and they can't defend all angles of attack. The Braum shield only goes one way. They can't defend against the Ornalt, they get taken down.
And here's the problem with Zeri. When you lock it into Weibo Gaming's composition, it doesn't do any damage, especially with only the static shiv in these team fights, and you can't even work through the front line, and Weibo Gaming, everyone survives.
That's how Uzi is. He's a great team fighter, but if he can't even do that, it shows how doomed game one is. The 10k gold lead, X-Tech Soul in 3 minutes coming up. Weibo now have even more control of the map as it's getting deeper and deeper, this vision line that EDG have to walk over.
3 minutes until the Dragon, if it does extend beyond that point, 2 minutes on the Baron timer, so that'll be a nice shove, take down structures, and then reset. Weiwei, he doesn't have himself flashed, so Uzi can be safe at least for now. He has the flag slash though, and they're grouping up and they're sieging.
3-level gap between the AD carries of this game one. It is going to be absolutely insane. 1 item to 3 as well. We have 3 item spike for the side of Light. This Kai'Sa needs to get shut down and needs to get engaged on before the base melts.
But Kitty, I think it's too late for that. Mid turret already gone with inhibitor. EDG might get engaged on behind their own turret against the wall again. Weiwei not getting the charge this time. Chris looks for the engage, gets the Shattering Strike. The Magnet Storm a little bit late, but it's still a 1-for-1 trade. EDG has done better than we expected as their second kill comes through, and now Uzi charging through the team, but he's sent away. Weiwei jumps in the backline yet again as EDG's jungle is getting chunked out, but they haven't finished the job. Call the Forge God is after the Braum ulti. TheShy! What an ending coming through as he tanks up the damage, but Uzi's run out of ulti.
Where has TheShy been? Where has this TheShy been? The entirety of Summer. What a great engage.
He wants to die for it. He wants to end game number one step closer as Weibo now empty the Nexus turrets. The Nexus dropping down, and in 22.5 minutes, that's WBG at their peak.
What a dominating start to the series by Weibo Gaming. From back-to-back series from last night, they just played a best of 5 to that 5th game, and they are